All right, let's see how this goes. My name is Sarah, and I am making the vases for the gala in a couple of weeks. And I thought it might be fun to share the process, if it works, of making one of the vases. Now, I'm not going to show you the whole process today because all that I can do is the wet work. The trimming and everything else comes later on, and maybe I'll video that as well. So I've got my clay. I'm going to whack it down onto my wheel, and the first thing I'm going to do is center it. Now with centering, you usually need to go at a really high speed and use a lot of water so that you can get the clay in place. Now you can see here this is off center with the way it wobbles, so I take one hand and I take my other hand and I interlock them, and then I consistently apply pressure. A little more water. Until the clay is no longer wobbly. Now, I'm going to take my thumb and drill my hole into the clay, pushing out at the same time to start my cylinder. Now with vases, you want to start with a cylinder, which is actually a really hard form to throw, but you want to start with a cylinder. If you were starting with a bowl or a plate, it would be a different shape that you'd start with. So now I'm going to dim down my speed a little. I have one hand on the inside, one hand on the outside, and I'm going to start pulling my cylinder by applying consistent pressure from the inside and outside, pinching it, bringing it up. I'm going to keep on doing that. I don't want to have a lot of clay at the bottom, and I want to keep my cylinder fairly narrow so I can get that nice tall vase shape. A cylinder is actually really hard to throw, for me at least. Other potters might find it easier, but I find it really difficult because your hands need to be moving together, but because of the height that you're doing it, they're separate from each other. You're not able to interlock them, and so pulling a cylinder can be really tricky for me. I am not a professional potter. I am an art teacher, and I work as a barista at Norway House, and I'm going to be taking over the management of the coffee shop. This is something that I do simply for the joy of it. And when we started looking at flower arrangements, oops, a little bit of a wobble, so I'm going to slow it down a little more. When we started looking at flower arrangements for the gala, I just wasn't finding anything that I liked as far as vessels go. And so I thought it would be really fun to create vases for the flower arrangements and then sell them to help with the fundraising, but also so that everybody has their own piece of artwork. Okay, so I have my cylinder, and you've got to be okay with getting your hands dirty. Now I'm going to narrow my top because I don't want it to flare out too much. And then what I'm going to do is shape it from the inside. So my inner hand is going to be pressing out, and my outer hand is going to just kind of be guiding it as I pull my shape. This is kind of fun where you get to see the vase shape coming together. Now I'm going to try to pinch it off a little bit here so that it doesn't get too large at the top. When I first started doing pottery, one of the things that happened a lot is I would flare my lips so much that it would end up being way too big. So that's a nice shape, and I am going to stop shaping it now, and I'll do the rest of the shaping with the trimming. So I'm going to compress my lip and take off the extra clay at the bottom. And now what I'll do is I will let it dry overnight, and then tomorrow I will trim it and help shape it more. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.